What is up guys, Wraec here with a new video, and today we are going to fight the Relentless Rumble. It is a little bit of a guide here. We have a very great team for Brawl 3. Brawl 3 is the newest Brawl. I already made a guide on Brawl 2 and Brawl 1. On Brawl 2 we actually still hold place 1, and so we do at Brawl number 3, and I will show you the team that makes all of this work. Brawl number 3 is a very special Brawl because we fight our toughest opponent yet, which is the Windsoul, a very mean enemy, deals physical damage, marksman type, and 5 range, which is a bit insane, has some crit buffs, has some haste buff, and from enemies that are more than 2 tiles away, takes 80% less damage, which is very annoying. And he has some on-death effects, and those have multiple annoying things. We have a knockback, which sometimes gets to be a knockdown, and takes 70% less magic damage. So really this enemy dictates more than any other enemy before what you use against him. And what you use against him are physical damage dealers that do melee damage. That is really the thing that you want to use against those guys. And we make use of another mechanic here by bringing Odie into this. From all I've said, a magic ranged hero shouldn't really be what you're looking for. But he is honestly pretty good, because usually those enemies, they stop their HP bar, just is there for a second when they reach basically 0 HP. They stop at 1 HP, do their effect, and then only die, which is actually a time loss here. So every enemy that is removed by Odie is actually faster, and with his ult, you recover energy every time he defeats someone with this effect. So he can cast ult fairly swiftly. Usually the on-death effect would knock him down, but you can see the golden glow there every time he casts his ult. He gains the aura from resonating spell, making him unaffected, so he can't be knocked down at all. Which is actually the key to deal a lot of damage here. The key to deal a lot of damage here is to cast his ult as often as possible, which is a little bit RNG reliant, because as soon as those enemies enter this state where they just have 1 HP, and we have the situation right here, he actually doesn't recover energy. And that means that he will actually run out of the effect of resonating spell, and then he can be knocked down. So this is very bad. 23, very bad RNG. Let's just hop in. Let's try it again while I explain a bit more. I tried different heroes. This strategy is really the best, because you get the most spawns there for those Windsouls, and it is fairly RNG reliant. So I did like, I think 30 attempts. And got a 27 out of this. So my heroes, they are not super high upgraded, except for the Odie, but still got a pretty good score. 27 is very nice. I saw 29 as well on the Analytica Discord, but I'm pretty happy with the 27 actually. It's more than enough to get all the loot, and it's actually a pretty decent score here. Other than that, I was very surprised to see Seth in here. Seth is actually a fairly strong hero for this, physical melee damage dealer, as we already said. Buffed by Mikola on this, and buffed by Shakir. Shakir also doing a decent amount of damage. And Seth has some very interesting abilities that we can dive into in about a second, actually. 24 here, not too great, but it's okay. And his abilities are actually fairly good for this. If we check out his Mythic Plus, Seth immediately sets a cooldown of Predator's Launch and recovers 200 energy when a non-summoned enemy is defeated. All of those enemies count as non-summoned enemies. So you can increase the damage of Predator's Launch, and actually, which is this ability, bounces to the weakest enemy in range, deals damage, and deals a lot more damage. So he has very quick travel over the map, which is important for this. It gets increased, he gets more energy, and all of that plays well into this game mode. So in general, he's well equipped for a game mode that just spawns a lot of enemies. We see very decent damage from Barrel here as well. Shakir's damage is of course less in his own damage, rather than in the Mythic Plus plus 10 skill we already saw. Each non-summoned ally within Lupin Aura can share the same attack bonus from Wolf's Will, so he can buff his allies, which then of course helps Shakir to deal more damage. And Barrel, Well, there is a replacement for Burial. I know a lot of you guys don't have him and say, well, I would like to use this, but I don't have Burial. And what we can do, we have different heroes that are also great for this game mode. So if we take Burial out, we of course lose a little bit of our faction bonus. And quite sadly, the Mauler faction isn't that great to, well, add another hero to this team. Smokey, as I said, doesn't really work. Knockdown will interrupt his ult all the time, so he's not that usable. Can't cast his ult as fast as Odie, so that is a problem. Everything that is not melee is not good, and well, the melee heroes that we have here don't really deal a ton of damage. So we have to look for other opportunities. Skalita I tried, didn't work too well. What works really well is actually Lenya. Lenya is fairly insane. We can watch a fight. The problem that you get if you have 4 melee heroes though is that they block each other's movement a little bit. And Lenya, while she deals a ton of damage, she also just tends to throw an enemy straight across the map, and then that makes it a little bit tough for the other heroes because they have to follow up. They have to try and hit that hero too, and then you sometimes see them running across the map, losing a lot of time. And such minuscule time losses can actually play a big role here. On the other hand, Lenya probably has the biggest damage potential of all the heroes that I tested. I tried Lily May, her damage isn't that great. The only good thing that she brings to the table is really blocking enemy ults, which is fairly nice. But other than that, well, it's not that great. And yeah. Corrin is also okay. I saw team more on Lightbearer side, Corrin, Merrily, and Vala. Corrin is pretty good. Merrily is not that great, I have to say. But Vala is one of the mightiest hero once again. I have to explain to you a little bit the way to use her. The way to really use her, if you go into this... Oh, now I skipped the damage. Let me quickly hop to the damage. Okay, quick skip here to the damage. You can see Lenya, absolute massive damage. It's just a +10 here, but she's actually very, very strong in this game mode. Just has a little bit less synergy than the Burial. The Burial just seamlessly integrates into this team. It doesn't disrupt the function of the team much. It doesn't disrupt the way that Charkir and other heroes want to go a lot, so he's actually pretty good for this. Another hero that is fairly great is Vala. Vala is a bit difficult to use because what we have to do with Vala is we have to manually cast her abilities. You kind of want to put her on Resonating Spell. You want to click exactly on the enemy tile, and what that does is it brings her into melee mode. And in that melee mode, she actually deals true damage, which is very, very great. If you just click a tile when no enemy is or let her auto cast her ult, she won't deal true damage. And her true damage is a lot stronger than when she just doesn't deal true damage and relies on her normal fist damage, which isn't too great. If you run a Lightbearer team, make sure to actually put the Resonating Spell on her or use the Sword artifact. In general, I encourage to just experiment a little bit on those brawls with the artifacts. I had good results with some artifacts that I never really expected. In general, to make the OD team work though, you will need the Resonating Spell. On some versions of the Lightbearer team, I definitely saw the Sword as well, and that works out. So wait a little bit. You can see this guy just spawned. He isn't clickable yet. You can wait in this mode. It's sometimes a little bit faster to just go out again, then click him. You can use it to jump from one side to the other, and just make sure you cast all your ults and cast them quickly so that you don't lose out on a lot of damage. But we can see pretty good result, 24. The team works there without the Burial still, and we have absolutely massive damage there from the Vala. It's just the key is to manually cast her ult, because as you can see in her ult, when Vala casts a skill on empty tile, jumps to the tile, switches to Sky Blaster mode, and when Vala casts a skill on an enemy, she switches to Sword mode, and then the damage is true damage. So that is really what we want. And regarding some teams that I used, you look into my Resonating Wall. I made some formations. This time around, I won't provide them to you. I don't think they are super useful. The untitled ones are the ones that I used. We can take a little bit of a look in there. That was a little bit of a Lightbearer faction. You can see there's still OD in here. It is still Resonating Spell OD. We have Shark here. We have Seth. This was just with Corrin, and later on of course, we used Burial instead. Burial was a little bit better. So this was just like a first attempt on that. Same for this, we basically just saw that. This was an alternate version with different positioning, but the heroes you already saw. In the version that we tested, we actually didn't use Burial, and instead went in with Odie. It actually took me a little bit of time to understand why Odie is worth it so much in this fight. What ends up happening is you really just want this team. This is really optimal because you get the most spawns with Odie. I will provide you this ID. This ID will be down in the pinned comment again if you want to make use of it. Just go into your formations up here, add by ID, and then you can add my formation directly there and use it in Rumble as well. So that being said, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you can get some nice scores. If you do, tell me down in the comments if you were able to get place 1 on your server or if you were able to get a good rank. I also heard from some people that they weren't able to get the loot and that they struggled a little bit. In general, if you struggle with such a game mode, then feel free to join my Discord server down in the description of this video. We have an AFK Journey channel. And you can just go in there and ask for help. Just ask if somebody can recommend you a good team, post your hero list in there, and I'm sure somebody will help you. And if not, then I come around and I will help you. So that is how we can do it. With that, I hope you're already subscribed to the channel. If not, well, that would make me very happy if you could. And other than that, I wish you a great day. We'll see us in the next one.